What's good, YouTube? And welcome to the house. Just a little bit of news before we get too far into today's market watch that has to do with the market. Dark Magician Girl's Lost Art promo is being released at OTSs. They're actually showing up to where if you spend that $30, you will get them. So you might want to call ahead. Maybe you were planning to get some Megatins to support locals anyways. Well, why not grab a second one and actually get a promo along with your Megatins? This is actually awesome timing by Konami to put one of the best ones forward like this, though. The Megatins were likely to sell out fast at locals like they do every year. Sometimes they linger on shelves at Walmarts or GameStops, but almost every single local tends to have these fire out and go. So I like the look of this, one of the best long-term values for a Lost Art being released right here. Now let's talk Megatins and what you could be chasing in here. Red Eyes Dark Dragoon saw a bottom out of 30 late in the morning yesterday, and then today, well, it's up towards 40. It is bouncing around, and it seems to really be trying to get stable value at double the price of a 10. And you can see how few listings, because guess what? The online marketplace is so choked right now. Most locals don't have open trading areas or tournaments or places where people are going to get deals on cards IRL. So vendors are listing this at 42 now, and there's so few of them willing to hop or move, or the big boys already sold out of theirs. It's crazy, actually, the amount of sellers on different cards, like Pot of Extravagance, the second most chased after card, has triple the sellers versus Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. This is a crazy boss monster. It's very good. I think it has long-term potential to go up, but man, I did not see this coming, even with the 10s being shorted on opening weekend, to happen like this. Whenever there's a huge rush, though, a ton of people were waiting for that $30 price point. Everybody scrambled, and it forced it to continuously go up as the supply is not meeting the demand, but a ton of the vendors will take multiple days, like all the way into Tuesday, Wednesday, to actually get through their entire 10s inventories before listing. So I do expect more competition to actually be there for this card, but how will the demand actually force the price? In the meantime, that's the question. Pot of Extravagance, you're grabbing it in 3s. It looks way better than the Ultra Rare, even though gold kind of looks good with gold, kind of like the Gearsu, but I like how the XCs looks. I digress, that's personal taste. I think this will age better than the Ultra Rare from Toon Chaos, especially the Unlimiteds. Borreload Savage Dragon sitting pretty around $15. People have been asking me if I think it will fall towards 12. As a one of, but still one of the most demanded cards for a long time that people have been waiting for, I could see this being stable, but if you're waiting to have it fall just a couple bucks, you might as well move on it. Apollosa has potential to go down from here, especially because it's going to get an Alter Art in the Gold Series. We have yet to see how that will look, but I have to imagine Konami is going to be very careful crafting that one. IP Masquerena, now under $10 towards 9, but I'm pretty sure if we click on it, it'll be more so towards, yeah, $10 still. So there's lots of decent half pulls, but if you're spending that $20 MSRP on 10s, you're pretty much after 2 cards to be able to beat the price of a 10 or getting multiple chases within the same 10. I've heard horror stories of entire cases open. I pulled nothing, it was terrible, and I heard other people, dude, I smacked out 3-4 Dragoons. Clumping is awesome. Clumping is going to affect different people in different ways. You're sometimes going to get definitely the D by it, we'll just put it that way, and other times you are going to get huge wins off of it. But you are fighting a very, even if you pull 3 Dragoons and you're going for a full case, well, that's 120 back out of 180 before you're paying fees if you got the hookup on the Megatins. So think about what you actually have to pull if you're going deep into the 10s without there being any lottery cards such as Battles of Legend had or Core Sets have. This does not have a Starlight. This does not have promos to alleviate value. Think about how you are spending your money on the 10s, but again, there is a smart little extra thing to do if you are happening to go in right now. Now, speaking of shopping optimally, Shoptimal is how I'm gonna put this. Little Nim Nim Gage, he has passed me in subs finally, and also has some of the cleanest merch on the market. And I really like this playmat. He sent it to me, so this isn't a sponsored slot or anything, but 25 bucks is a really good price on a playmat. I think there's a shipping charge on the end, but go ahead and see what it is to your area. It looks amazing for one of the most underestimated cards out of Legendary Duelist 5. We got us Supe Duskwalker. I really like what he's actually he's a huge fan of like the Skull Servant stuff. He had a t-shirt for it also. So Skull Servant's head is also on the Graveyard Zone. He just kind of thinks a little bit extra of everything. I even like the Optimal logo when it comes down to it. So go check out optimal.shop. I'll have that link down below. But again, unfortunately, code What's Good 5 doesn't work because it's already so freaking cheap when it comes to this playmat. Now let's talk about market moves. Marincess Pascalis is up in price as the rest of the Marincesses are now way easier to get. A super rare out of iGas, huh? iGas is very thirsty for value, so this is a glass of water, I guess, for some vendors that probably have stacks that don't even know this move has happened and are going to start listing theirs. But it was like a low of $2.50 last night, and now it's towards $3. You can get it $3 free shipping on a light play. So yeah, the near mints are running out. There's only one page. It's almost full buyout. I didn't know the quantities were gone like that. But my point is on this card, while it's a very good card for them, Water Salad is more like watered down salad. This deck does play very well. It's topped a couple of regionals actually, and if you catch somebody not knowing what it does for those huge attack bonuses and stuff like that, well, it's okay. I just think maybe there's people who spent $50 on Marincess Blue Tang that are looking at a price spike for Marincess right now thinking, yeah, $3 rebate, you know. Speaking of a card from the live streams that's also water, Silent Wabi got buyouts as Mystic Mine is more accessible. Sorry, I couldn't help myself there. And so we see that it went up in price last night to $10. Now it's already back down towards $7.50 with some people having very high quantities. I don't expect the highest sales rate on this, especially with it being a recent buyout. You see its old market price was around $3. Good luck selling these, but man, really, the Mystic Mine, yeah, Mine's out, it's not gonna get touched, it got an upgrade, let's go! One card, Infinite Disruption. Yeah, the Mystic Mine stands out here. But seriously, this is a kind of eyebrow-raising one that happened last night. Another one that's weird is Magnetic Field. Maybe for next level Magnet Warrior Adamancipator plays? Let's read through this field spell from a structure deck real quick that was actually terrible for getting value back in the day, because this came out at the same time as the ABC structure. Vendors were basically throwing this out at a loss. They were taking $5 even, saying, here, take it, I'm gonna sell the ABC structures. If you control a level 4 or lower Earth Rock monster, you can target a level 4 or lower Magnet Warrior monster in the graveyard, special summon it. So I guess Unexpected Die, you have the plays to be able to ride the Magnet Warrior playing. You can only use this effect of Magnetic Field once per turn. Once per turn at the end of damage step, when an Earth Rock type monster you control battled an opponent's monster, but the opponent's monster wasn't destroyed, you can return it to hand, non-targeting removal as well. So it's a cute little tech that fits something a lot of the decks were already playing with Unexpected Die. I don't know about this one, though. Let me know what you think. Adamancipator players, is this the next level tech? Recursion on top of non-target removal depending for you? Like, it sounds kind of nichely funny in a lot of senses, but I personally don't see it being worth it. Maybe it is. Maybe. Magician of Faith brought up some interesting conversations on last night's stream as well. We saw that the Speed Duel version only has 20 listings and is an ultra rare, not in the more kind of debated Duel Saga rarity of is this good, isn't it, which also is low on listings and it had been going up for some time. So with it being one of the higher rarities, is this a good look? I think it could go up over time to like $12. It's not a bad buy at all at $6, using that TCG player link in the description down below, costing you nothing extra to support the channel directly for the GOAT cards you would already be buying along with other past formats. So it is kind of a good look. It doesn't, you know, with Speed Duels, you can actually use that outside of Speed Duels too. The marketing campaign was so bad on that, like people are still, can I use Speed Duel cards outside? No, you can't use outside cards in Speed Duels. You can use Speed Duel cards outside of Speed Duels, though. It's confusing, I know, but it's not ever going to catch up to like the super rare. Now, when we're talking the expensive cards for Speed Duels, though, they're not from within the packs, they're actually the tournament pack cards, and TP1 for this has done amazing. The Blue Eyes has seen a buyout. I think this happened when the 10s got announced, because a ton of Blue Eye stuff went, but I didn't notice this one, so this is pretty much way up there if you have one, while the rest are kind of sitting pretty. Red Eyes, it's that more so puke green Megatin DB1 version, so that's why it's not going out of control, but I could see people after it. It's just not one of the more desirable versions in my book. And then Dark Magician here, just so low quantities, people staring at them, and this tournament pack did way better than the second one. You have Fortress Whale trying to recapture glory of a meme of days past. Skull Servant stuff does do well, and then it's just not a lot going for this tournament pack, is it? So yeah, I think Speed Duel Tournament Pack 1, it does have that label 1. It is something to kind of look at. I was initially wrong thinking, haha, ultra rare, they're not going to re-want it, because the quantities and pull rates are so bad on these that, yeah, they somewhat became desirable depending on which version you're after. Also, another interesting conversation that happened on Facebook. Also, one more thing. Dude, there's been so many posts about Jackie Chan adventures all over Facebook. I've got to restart that series. Sakuretsu Armor was brought up that it's interesting that it's selling at $10 for the first edition. I actually find this undervalued. It's the second highest rarity, which matches the super rare from Champion Pack, but Champion Pack is going to bring its own label to the table with the old school look, and people will prefer that. And you've seen Yugi's World Unlimited rewave several times, but the first edition being around $10, that's not surprising to me. I think that's grossly undervalued, not the vintage values to the moon. I would expect this to be 20 to 25 by now for a first ed stamp on this, and there are quite a few available in that lower slot with competition, but then they're all gone. So it's definitely something to consider. The first ed stamp sellers here, you might want to get that for GOAT format. I thought about buying them for myself. I got a comment recently and they're like, how much do you make a year off of vending right now, John? And I was like, people don't know. I guess the talk hasn't been in a while. I don't buy and sell cards anymore so that I can bring you guys the deals first. I actually, when I did my investment video on Ultimate Rares, like I said, I'm not going to sell those for 5 whole years. I'm going to keep those, and I didn't do a single buyout on market. I left extras of everything. Like, I want to give you guys the deals first, and I even did within that video. I bought Dasher for $8 more because I brought it onto Market Watch first. So with this is something I personally would be buying out myself for first edition stamps, but it's here. So when it comes to cards like this, you see GOAT cards and a lot of them starting to get re-looked at right now, and there's definitely different cards to look around that, like the Magician of Faith, to consider and go, Speed Duel packs, okay, they're not busted open heavily. If I buy this, how many more Speed Duel packs get busted open? If there's value to chase, what's going to happen? Versus, like, something from a $30 pack that for first edition won't ever be rewaved again for a second mid rarity. Then finally, let's get to Rise of the Duelists and just a couple flip-flops that are happening. Nothing too surprising. Triple Tactics talent over the weekend, passing Nadir Servant once again. Nadir Servant went all the way down to 60 flat, 65, 66. Forbidden Droplet bouncing around. Everything's just falling or rising $2 to $5. I don't think it's like, here's the race. There's Triple Tactics talent passing Nadir Servant falling back behind. Now it's catching back up, and here is Forbidden Droplet staying out in the lead. It's not like that with this set, and I don't think any of the moves are too surprising. You see Ecclesia bouncing around like $2, Fleur de Lis could go back to 25, could sit at 22. All these $2 to $3 ranges, if you're that concerned, get the card sooner than later, rather than being salty about a $2, $3 loss in case something like Forbidden Droplet suddenly sees like, oh, it's the Dragoon counter. Oh, the community creates the Dragoon counter, of course. It says choose instead of target. Oh, it doesn't target. Yes, it's amazing. Like, just get the card sooner than later if you are that concerned. It's unlikely it's going to fall too much, and even versus what it will fall, your opportunity cost versus the time you're going to get to use it on online remote duels if you're using it, time is money. That is also a factor in the amount of use you get out of your card. That being said, for those more in-depth concepts, maybe we'll do deeper dives in the future. Give a like if you would enjoy those, subscribe if you haven't already, and let me know what you think of this developing market, some of these weirder buyouts, and how the Megatins are shaping up, because everything but Dragoon is looking honestly very scrumptious in price, and I'm glad that it's taking the value out of like these being more like 15, 25, like I'm pretty glad where we're at, but I do think some of these cards will rise over time, so they're smarter to kind of get looks at sooner than later. Also, can I say how delicious it is to see $5 sets of Signet Minings? That is freaking scrumptious. Oh, I love how the Megatins do it to the market.